I'm an actor, known for some of the voice acting I've done in video games like Gargoyles, Daedric Prince of Madness, or Lucian the Chance of the Dark Brotherhood, Mo Chrono from Diamond City, or the Protectron robots from Fallout. I've done Star Trek. I even got to do some scenes with Patrick Stewart. I'm the announcer for the NHL hockey team Washington Capitals for the past 25 years. I have a lovely Stanley Cup ring to show for it. I've done films here and there, television series, narrations. Basically, I like to think of myself as a storyteller and an entertainer of everything from cartooning to stand-up to film to television to video games. As long as I'm able to get out there and have some creative fun, that's where you'll find me. My favorite thing is the thing that I am currently doing. Whenever I get into it, whenever I get into a video game, whenever I get into a film, whenever I write, I'm doing like a collection of short stories and novellas that are going to be coming out soon. Whenever I do a children's book, whatever it is I'm doing, I become a part of it. I live through it. It comes through me. And that becomes 100%. So if I'm Shea Gorath, I am Shea Gorath, 100% the Daedric Prince of Madness. If I'm Lucian LeChance, I will be waking you up, dear child. Sit this, for there is murder in the air. I live and channel through these. So my favorite thing is being in the moment, in the pocket, in the groove, if you know what I'm saying. People ask me about my characters. Who's your favorite character? And that's a Sophie's choice, Maya. It really is. Which of your babies would you rather keep? You know, because they're all my children. They're born out of a part of me. I become a part of them. They are like my children. So for me to, sure, I love Shea Gorath. I love doing Hermaeus Mora. You know, I love Lucian. That would be a great sitcom, wouldn't it? I love Lucian. Lucian, who did you murder this time? You know, so I love playing. I love the creativity. I love working with other people. I love each character individually. So picking one of them out of all of them is very difficult. Recently, there was one that really affected me, and it was Johannes Verlaine, and it was in the Elder Scrolls Gold Road. I can get choked up thinking about this character's arc, because it's someone who passed away with regrets due to a child and not telling them how they felt. And as a father and having, oh man, I got to tell you, Maya, as a father, you want to be the best you possibly can be, but you always know that you fall short of the mark. Everybody does. We're all human. And to be able to tap into that with Johannes and feel that and go on that journey with him was just so emotional for me. It wasn't a huge quest, but I've heard from people who said that it really affected them because I mean, if you're not feeling it when you're performing it, they're not going to feel it when they're playing it. And when you're playing a video game, it's all about immersion. It's all about being in that world. It's all about believing that you are talking to the people you're talking to, that they're feeling the things that you're feeling. And with Johannes Verlaine, I felt a lot. And I hope that it touched people as much as it touched me. It meant a lot to me. And I will say this, if you don't mind me saying this about your father, sometimes dads find it difficult to communicate They find that they have to put up the front. They're the ones that have to be the brave soldier no matter what, and everybody else in the family gets to be vulnerable, to be hurt, to be scared, and they have to be the protector, so they steal that over. And that is the protective armor, the emotional restrictor plates that we put in place on ourselves in our lifetime to keep us from feeling. As an actor, you've got to release those in order to be able to get into what the real true emotions are and show them. But for people who have spent their entire life closing those emotions off and shutting them down, never let them see a sweat, never let them see a cry, don't be too happy, don't let them see you're in love. All these things puts this steel, this cement, this cage around them. So your father may have these thoughts. Your father may have these feelings, but they are buried underneath of that emotional restrictor plate, the armor that he has built up his entire life. And to be able to open that up and do feels super unnatural. And I think with a lot of fathers, and I think with Johannes Verlaine as a character, you find somebody who wished, when all is said and done, why didn't I communicate? Why didn't I tell the people I love them that I love them? Why couldn't I have done this in life? And when it's too late, it's too late. So I would say work on everybody. Work on loosening up some of those emotional restrictor plates. Yeah, emotions hurt, emotions burn, emotions can be painful. And if we block ourselves away from those emotions, we can't be hurt, but we also can't be loved. It means the world that you liked Johannes Verlaine, because I'm not sure who wrote that, but I hope that they're happy with the way it turned out with the voice, because the storyline moved me. And if I was able to move them back again, that's again a wonderful dance between the writer and the performer, and each of us bringing something of our own to it to bring it alive. And you can't, it's so much easier when you have writing like you have from the ESO franchise. When you have writing like that, to tell those stories and to bring them to life, it becomes so much easier and really quite rewarding. I got to tell you, sometimes going to a movie or a theatrical production or musical production, it gets so much harder to lose yourself in these things when you're surrounded by a lot of people who, after the pandemic, forgot what it's like to be an audience. People think they're in their own living room. They talk about crap. They stand up in front of you. Hey, I bought my ticket. Yeah, so did everybody else, buddy. I think that video games then, which are not played in public, which are played in private, which are in your home, it becomes a lot easier to be immersed into it because, one, it's interactive. You're in that world. You're talking to people. They're talking back to you. And what's interesting is that's our challenge as actors, is never to dial it in. Because the moment you do that, when you come across somebody who obviously is just sort of reading a line or just dialing it in, it breaks that immersion. You've broken a promise to the person who's playing the game, which is, come to my world, be a part of this world. It is your world too. And you'll notice this in a lot of different medium, whether it's a video game or it's a movie. You're watching a movie that's so well done, and then you come across the one actor who the producer knew the brother or somebody of, who just can't act their way out of a paper bag, and you don't buy it for a second, and you suddenly realize, oh, this is all fake.
Yeah.
Whereas when you were watching it before, it draws you in. The world envelops you, and that to me is the best. When you can watch something and the time goes by like that because you are so caught up in the world, that's the best. That's what we strive for. Unfortunately, it's gotten very difficult in a lot of ways these days because there are many fingers in many pies. and you don't have many creative visions that are singular anymore. It's all like group all group direct, everybody's got to do something. And if you've ever had a story or a screenplay or something of that sort that you've taken in and said, this is my idea, it's in my head, it's perfect, I can see it all breaking in. They go, okay, great, yeah, but what if they were in bikinis?
Yeah.
Hey, right, I got the money here, and I got bikinis. So next thing you know, your snowbound horror movie has people running around like polar bears in bikinis. What was that for? I've loved working on Hermaeus Mora on ESO, who is slightly different than Hermaeus Mora from, say, Dragonborn. And here's the thing: this is what I love. Some of the directors that you get to work with in these games can be wonderful. And I've been working with a director by the name of D.B. Cooper. And D.B. Cooper it's like a dance, a waltz, trying to build this character, get what they need, which is Hermaeus Mora has a lot more lore to talk about in ESO than he ever did in Skyrim or Dragonborn or Oblivion. And so I was able to lollygag around with some of the voice and drag things out and things of that sort, to the point where some people were like, Hermaeus Mora, unskippable dialogue. I feel like I'm caught in a bear trap. It's like, yeah, okay, fine. That's your revenge for killing the emperor before you let him talk. But how do we keep Hermaeus Mora similar, and yet he moves a little quicker? There's a little thing, and then we started talking about this character. Where's Hermaeus Mora's mouth? I mean, look at this guy up here. He's not talking to you via his mouth, is he? It's telepathic. So if he's speaking to you telepathically, are you not going to hear it differently as different characters? Will it not come through sometimes a little more muffled as you're speaking? But then, someone who has a little more clear reception and a little more aptitude towards picking up on that would hear Hermaeus Mora speaking a little more clearly, but they're still with the same sing-song kind of thing, just not clicking as much, not dragging along. So they're similar. It's the same character. You hear it differently because your character is different. That sort of thing is what I love. I love sitting down and talking about who the characters are, where they come from, what are their backgrounds. Farragut Forward, we just did the Star Trek film, and I played a Klingon doctor by the name of Valal. He is an older Klingon. He has been savage in the past, but he's also a doctor. I think of him more along the lines of like a Dr. McCoy in the old TOS. He's gruff, but he'll tell you what you need to know. And he feels, but he's not necessarily going to come right out with it right away. So I really enjoyed playing this character. I played a character in a horror movie recently that Jamie Nash directed, and was written by Adam Cesare, who does the Clown in the Cornfield books, and one of the producers was Eduardo Sanchez. So it's like a really good pedigree with this, but it was basically like a cross between The Big Lebowski and The Purge. But I played a local professor from like a community college, and I'm trying to pick up a plus-size Instagram model at the bowling alley bar by explaining the Battle of Hastings using bar peanuts to demonstrate. Now you're going to be shocked, I don't do so well. not picking up the girl, nor in surviving the film. So if you want to see me get killed violently, that's a good movie to see, which is last night at Terrace Lanes. I did a thing called Sanctuary. Sanctuary is a film that's going through the festivals right now. And it was a shorter film, but it was, I played a guy who beats kids. And I had to do this because my son lived in California and they're filming around Thanksgiving. So I got to go out and spend Thanksgiving with my son. In order to be a good dad, I had to be the world's worst dad. But I play this guy, and you have to find something within your characters that you can make human and identifiable. Even though he's a horrible individual, you can't play it like that. You can't judge your characters. When you're playing a bad guy, you can't play a bad guy like that. Lucien Lachance is not necessarily the nicest guy in the world. He's an assassin. But you have to come from their point of view, because everyone feels that they are justified in whatever it is they're doing. So why do they feel justified? Why do they feel put upon? Why do they feel that they are the hero of their own story and that it's going poorly? And so I had to find and go through my past, dealing with my own father, dealing with relationships, thinking about this guy, what his regrets were, what position he was in. And later, when I talked to the director about this, he says, yeah, it was terrifying, but you brought a humanity to it that I didn't see initially, and a little underneath of it, the vulnerability, but he's lashing out, and it's terrifying. And I thought, good. The best villains in the world have reasons. Reese played my son, and Ben played his friend, who unfortunately got beaten up by me. And we had some good stunt work together. It was a lot of fun. And they said, you were scary, but we watched you change from you into this. I was Jekyll and Hyde during the middle of it. At the end of this shoot, I went back to the hotel room, trimmed the beard back down, I cut the hair back down, trimmed everything back up, took a long hot shower of the soul to try to get rid of this character and move past him. Because you have to live that person. You have to live that part. It has to be coming from within you, and you have to be true to it. So I'm very proud of that work of Sanctuary as it goes around to the festivals. It just won an award at the Silicon Valley. We did our premiere at the Grauman's Chinese Theater, where they have the handprints and all that. And that festival that it made its premiere at, it won Best Contemporary Western. So very excited about that and how that's going to proceed. I've just love being in the moment and doing these things and playing these characters and being these characters, and then turning around and doing things for video games. And thank God for the movies right now, because we're on strike with the video games, and it breaks my heart. It's what I love to do, and we're working to try to make sure that we have AI protections. We know it's not going away. We know that AI is around, but what we need to make sure of is that our work is only done with permission, with compensation, and with fairness between, if we're working on one project, that's the project that you use the AI for. If we've given you permission for that and you don't use it on many games in the future, thereby disqualifying us for work. And a lot of it is not just voice, but it's also performance capture and motion capture, which has been very difficult to try to convince them, even though they're using professional artists who are, Screen Actors Guild and AFTRA members to do this, that they are professionals. We just want protections. And, maybe like 5-minute break every hour, which would seem reasonable when you've got people who are working and doing physical stunt work constantly for an 8-hour day. And to have somebody who's like a paramedic on the standby, in case someone gets injured, which people do get injured. So you want to work with people, you protect the people, you pay the people the appropriate rates, and you just have respect for the work that we do, as much respect as we have for the creative side of things. So, yeah, as far as that's concerned, I hope that both sides can come together. We're still working, still negotiating, trying to do things in good faith and make sure that everybody is protected, everybody is compensated. We're not trying to stop the flow or of progress of AI, and we know that a lot of that can make a big difference in how they do the games, but it's not the tools, it's the people who utilize them that have to play by the rules. I've had people reach out to me and say, I want to do a mod and I want to use your voice and I want permission to use your voice to do a mod. And I say, I can't do a mod. The mods that I've been able to do in the past have been linked to charities. And they've been done with permission through the game company because these characters are not my own. Anybody who takes my voice or takes the voice of the game and uses it to teach AI to say something completely different that I never agreed to say to begin with is just kind of wrong. Those who take the audio and cut it up and turn it into something funny, like the guys who did the Zoom album with Sheogorath rapping. It was very funny, but they took the regular audio. They didn't AI me. They did an edit, which I thought was clever and I thought it was funny. And people said, what do you think of this? And I'm like, I don't think I ever said anything like that. But I still thought it was funny, and I thought that they were good and they did a nice job. And I think drinking water is a good message for everybody. Stay hydrated, bitch. Drink water, drink water, drink water, bitch. That's what they have Sheogorath saying. But I was fine with all that. I was fine with all that. But recently I've seen people taking my voice, doing a mod of it, having me say things that are kind of insidious that I never said, building their own mods out of my voice. Two things. One, they don't have my permission to use my voice to train their AI and use it in their mods. They just don't. They don't have my permission. They don't have the game company's permission. So you're pirating it. Just be aware that that's what you're doing. And it can be exacting to the point where they actually have breaths in there and it sounds natural, but it's not connected to any real experience or soul. That's important. The other thing is, there have been people who have kind of broken into voice acting by voice acting in mods. There are developers from a lot of these mods who have been hired who end up becoming part of the game companies, who become professionals because they've shown what they can do. And when you work with somebody who's up and coming, doing voice, and they know that you can emote, that you can do things, that you can be effective as a voice actor, as they move up, it gives you an opportunity to move up and get into those ranks as well. And also people who are already out there working at the different game companies, they've listened to these mods, they've played some of them, and they hear it as well. So it's a great place for people to get experience. When you start illegally taking other people's voices and training them through AI and using them in your mods, for one thing, you're going to anger the game companies that could have hired you to begin with, because you've taken their copywritten material and you've utilized it without their permission. You're going to upset the voice actors who can't do the mods, aren't supposed to do the mods, yet you're putting the stuff out there and you're trying to say you are replaceable. I don't need you. I can have a robot replace you. And that is not something anybody, first of all, they're not going to bring the soul. They're not going to go in. It's not going to be channeled through experience, through emotion. It's going to be channeled through digitization. And then third, and this is very important, it takes the jobs away from up and coming voice actors. these opportunities for people who are my students, these opportunities for people who are working on mods, are being eaten up and gobbled and thrown away by AI, because people out there get infatuated with it. And I've had people online and comment sections come after me, who are like, screw you, Wes Johnson, your voice is my voice. It is not. It is not. The people who build these games, the creatives behind all of this, the people who put this together, I have nothing but love for. I hate it when mom and dad are fighting. Truthfully. I mean, we went out with ESO and did Necrom and Gold Road. Gold Road is what we went out to Amsterdam for. And Necrom, we went out to Las Vegas. I love these people. I love the fans. I love working with everybody over at Bethesda, all the different game studios. I love them all. And it breaks my heart, this whole thing. It breaks my heart. And I want it to be settled fairly so that everybody is happy, so that we are protected, because, listen, the technology is not going to do anything but grow. We're not going to stop AI advancements. We need guardrails in place. We need protection. We need to make sure that this is not the end of our career as we know it, that we've worked our entire lives towards building. I think that, I know for a fact that this is something that the people who are the creatives in the building and the people who run the companies are behind. But everything is locked into big corporations now, and there are people involved in that who just don't know gaming. But they very much are lawyers, and their job is to try to protect their company's bottom line, their investors, things of that sort. But when will people realize that if you treat the creatives in your company well, they will excel? When you treat people with respect, they will give you a better product. And when you have a better product, things are going to go much better. I think there's a bit of weariness. People say, oh, there's a superhero weariness. Oh, there's this or that. There's whatever. It's not necessarily that. It's tell us a story we haven't heard before. Tell me a story. No, I've heard that one. No, that's still the same story. Same story, different character. Tell me a story. The movies, the games that draw you in and emotionally bind you are the ones that you're going to remember and be loyal to forever. So we wish to be good partners with each of the companies we work with. Loyal, happy, hardworking partners. And in order to do that, we just need to be respected in regard to permissions, compensations, and guardrails on how far our voice can be used without compensating us. I wasn't a part of ESO when it first started off, to my everlasting heartbreak. But I can't tell you, Maya, what it means to me to have been a part of the ESO family since Ard Caddick came onto the scene. To be wrapped into the arms of that family, not just the developer side of things, but the fan side of things and the community side of things. The ESO community has been, oh my God, so wonderfully inviting, so warm, so just the best people in the world. And you and I have talked about this before. When we do Voice-a-Palooza every year, which is the charity arm that we go through Fallout for Hope with for the Alzheimer's Association, I had been doing stuff for Alzheimer's Association. I had done some things for Ken Vigu, who is one of the best humans on the planet, for St. Jude, and done some things with him for that. And I said, could we do something for Alzheimer's? And he was like, yeah, let's do that. And in 3 years, between the work that Ken and I put in, but then really, really the intense, wonderful labors and work and caring of the community, the gamers, the streamers who have all come together to help raise funds to fight this dread disease, Alzheimer's, which has touched so many of us. We've raised over $120,000 in 3 years, and you have no idea how much wonderful good that does for people who are caregivers and working for research for cures, and how they're coming up with some new medications that can, if you take them early enough, can keep you who you are longer, which is hugely important, because who we are and who our loved ones are, when you lose that, you've lost everything. We end up becoming the keepers of their memories because they no longer have them. I lost my mother. I lost my grandmother. My aunt is suffering with it now. And to be able to talk to so many gamers and streamers who are fighting because they lost a father, a mother, a grandmother, a brother, a sister. It's emotional. To be able to do what I love in voicing games and acting, but then to be able to turn that around and actually help people, to work with this community and realize, you hear so many things about toxic gamers or this or that, and it's such a small percentage, because the people that I've dealt with, the people that I've talked to, are some of the finest human beings on the face of the earth. And I'm really proud to be able to work alongside of them and drop the gloves on this disease, because otherwise you feel helpless. And we haven't been helpless. We fought back, and we're going to continue to do that. And I'm with Ken all the way, whether he's working for the American Heart Association or St. Jude's. We've done these plays, these things, these like Christmas Carol in a Fallout world, and a Christmas Story in a Fallout world, things of this sort, and raise money through these things, which are done through love, fun for funds. And there have been about 20 life-saving surgeries for children who are alive today, who wouldn't be if it weren't for this wonderful community. So I want to thank each and every one of you out there who are listening right now for everything you've done, and ask you to join us again next year to do more good, because this world deserves and needs more light, and you are the light.